I'm going to walk you through the weather story that we've got going on, talking about the heat and talking about the return of some rain chances. I'll also take a peek at the tropics for you as we go into the month of August. Can you believe July is almost over? Okay, today it's just sunshine. I mean, we've got a bright blue sky. That means no rain at all. Tomorrow you will notice some more cloud cover building in, but still not tracking rain. We're under this big ridge of high pressure. By Thursday, however, that ridge starts to weaken, and that is when we will welcome back the potential for a couple of showers. Nothing major will work into those higher rain chances as we go into the weekend. Right now, 90 degrees at IAH. It is a 1 degree temperature drop so far from this exact same time yesterday, but I think the heat's going to start ramping up here as we go over the next couple of hours. When you factor in the humidity, because it's there, even though it's not as high as it could be, it's not as high as it's been the last few weeks, it's still there. Dew points in the low 70s give us about a 6 degree bump. So 90 actually feels like 96, and the breeze is too light. It is out of the west at just 3 miles an hour. I'm looking at a high temperature that gets close to, if not hits, 100 degrees. This would be the second so far this year. So it's going to be a hot one regardless. Tomorrow will come close to that again, at least upper 90s, again increasing some of the cloud cover, and then by Thursday it's a 30% chance for a couple of scattered storms, and with the rain and a little rain cooled air, temperatures will drop a little bit. I mean, 99 to 97 is not a temperature drop I'd like to see. I'd like to go from the 90s to the 80s, but beggars can't be choosers. It is summer in Houston, so the heat is a given. July so far has been pretty toasty, 16 degrees, 16 days, I should say, above average. We've had 9 below and 3 that have been normal. Normal for this time of year as we approach the end of July should be 95, 96 degrees, right around that marker. I am looking at the next 3 days to be above. So we are going to end the month on a pretty hot note. How about the feeling across the area? Because some spots definitely have more humidity out there. Galveston particularly, a very humid area, of course, right next to the Gulf. 90 degrees there actually feels like 100 already. It feels like 98 in Sugar Land when the actual air temperature is 90. So it's already pretty hot and it's only lunchtime. Our high temperature today is going to be felt right around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not all of us are going to get to 100 degrees, but I think a good chunk of us had that potential today. And that's actually close to a record for this time of year as well. Notice throughout the afternoon, you're really tracking a lot of sunshine, clear skies even into this evening. And you'd think there's nothing wrong with a day where we don't have anything to track, at least in the sky. Well, down at the ground level, we do have something to track. It's ground level ozone. Sun interacts with all the pollutants we've got on the ground, like the exhaust from cars, like from factories, the chemical solvents, and both of these mixing together, the sun with these volatile organic compounds that are called VOCs, create ground level ozone, and that is not the healthiest air to breathe. So far, air quality, which I've been tracking throughout the morning and afternoon, is not bad. So it's in the moderate range. We're all on the yellow. However, as the afternoon progresses, as more time goes on, the sun has time to interact with those VOCs, we could see the air quality drop into that sensitive groups category. So at that point, you would try to limit your time outdoors, especially outdoor activities like working out, running, cycling, because you'd be huffing and puffing more of that air that's not very clean. And that's especially true for folks that have respiratory issues like asthma. So try to limit your time outdoors if you're in Harris, Brazoria, and Galveston counties. Otherwise, it is very beautiful. Our camera hobby is not populating, but I could tell you that there, and even our camera shot from the Galleria, it's just sunny. It's sunny and beautiful. The Herman Park camera shot shows that. The Galveston camera shot shows that. Both areas right now at 90 degrees. The heat and the clear skies, all a result of high pressure on top of us. High pressure means that the air aloft is merging together and it is sinking. And air that sinks heats up compressionally. I always use this example, it's such a good one. If you mash something tight, let's say like a pressure cooker, that's added weight and added heat on top of us. that's why those temperatures keep climbing. So the more atmosphere that's on top of us, the more the temperatures are going to keep climbing. That also suppresses cloud cover, and it suppresses the potential for rain. Why? Well, simple. We need moisture to lift up, to cool and condense. That's what creates cloud cover. And if we have, let's say, a front or a low pressure system that actually forces the air up, well, that's when we'd get abundant moisture accumulating, and not just clouds, but then rain. Under high pressure, it's much harder to do that, especially when it's a pretty big ridge of high pressure, which we have right now. Now it's going to soften. As we go into the end of the work week, it breaks apart a little bit. So now we've got a split. We've got a high pressure system towards the west, high pressure towards the east, and this opening here, which does allow some of that Gulf moisture to swing in our direction, and that is when we will start to see the rain chances coming back into the forecast. So let me take you through time. So future track shows today, clear skies. Tomorrow, more cloud cover, and then eventually that cloud cover does bring back a chance for storms. So Thursday afternoon, carry your umbrella. Hey, you might even have a little bit of a slowdown because the timeline for the rain is going to match up with your commute home. So think 2 to maybe 5 o'clock in the evening. That's when we have the best likelihood of seeing storms in and around the city center, so all throughout Harris County. Then the rain chances keep on climbing. This is a snapshot of the afternoon over the next 5 days. You'll notice nothing today, nothing tomorrow. An isolated chance on our Thursday, and then Friday the coverage starts to increase. So does the intensity. It's a 40% storms. Then Saturday it's a 60% chance. So it's going to be a soggy weekend ahead, and we are tracking a wetter than normal outlook even beyond the weekend. So now we're getting into the month of August, and we're looking at the likelihood of above average rainfall for southeast Texas, but particularly towards Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. August is also a month that piques our interest because we're getting closer towards a more active Atlantic basin. And typically during the month of August, any systems that develop tend to steer closer towards the eastern seaboard, the Caribbean, and of course the Gulf. So we'll keep a close eye on any system that develops because its movement is more favorable towards us during this time frame, and especially as we go into September. The 10th is actually when our season peaks. So you might have been thinking to yourself, hey, things have been fairly quiet so far. You're not wrong, but we typically don't see our Atlantic basin ramp up until September 10th. So we're still tracking the tropics, still got a long ways to go. Your outlook for this week, so over the next 2 to 7 days, we are not expecting anything to develop, but check in at least once a day during hurricane season because things can change. By the way, you can check in next at 4 o'clock, 6 and 10 o'clock. And if they see any development, they'll make sure to update you first. For now, let's walk us through the 7-day forecast because there are some subtle changes and changes that, might interest you, especially as you're trying to plan ahead for work time happy hours, even weekend plans, or maybe you've got something for the start of the coming week. We've got your temperatures and your rain chances for the next 7 days. So high temperature today, right around 100 degrees. The record to tire beat is 101. So regardless of if we make it to that record, it's a hot day. We only had one triple-digit day so far this year, and this looks to be our second. Tomorrow, it's going to be really similar to today, so pretty hot, not as humid in the afternoon, so that's good, but you'll see a little bit more cloud cover, and the record to tire beat tomorrow is 102, so maybe no records there, but still a hot day. Then on Thursday, you might get a little break from the heat during the afternoon as we track a chance for a couple of isolated storms that, again, during your commute home, more likely than not, is when you'll see those raindrops on your windshield. And then Friday, a bigger likelihood of you seeing a few storms, and the rain chances build into the weekend. So by Saturday, it's a 60% chance to see some scattered storms. So I think Saturday is going to be the stormier of the 2 weekend days. Sunday, you might get away with those outdoor activities, and then by Monday, Still lingering moisture around, but I think you'll be able to get to your destinations a little bit more easily as we start to see the valve on the rain kind of close off a little bit. All right, have a wonderful day today. Don't forget to monitor air quality, especially if you have asthma or if your throat's just been bothering you. Might not be the best day to spend too much time outside because of that, and of course the heat. All right, have a great Tuesday.